Afternoon, guys. Today I'll be bringing you a deck profile on my Megacolony deck. Megacolony Stride deck to be exact. So let's get started. Starting off the deck of my grade 3s, I play 4 Dark Faces and 4 Cyclomatooth. Hopefully the one Dark Face that I'm missing for the deck, which is why I'm proxying it. Which is why the proxy. Hopefully I get it soon when I'm able to. When I'm sort of low on funds right now, getting all the pieces for this deck. And what Darkface does when he stride it over, when he stride, Counterblast 1, paralyze 2 units, a GB2, Soul Blast 2. When your opponent calls a rearguard, you have a choice to do this. You Soul Blast 2 and rest that unit that your opponent calls. And when you use the stride over ability, if that opponent still has that unit in play, you draw for the 2 cards. You're only able to paralyze 2 cards, guys. And the Cyclomatooth is in here mainly because to force my opponent to ride the grade 2s, just in case that you see them wanting to just stick with grade 2, the second grade 2. That's the only way to beat this deck if you stop from really striding. So this deck is in here mainly to force my opponent to ride their Vanguard, because that's the only way to stay in their Vanguard. So that's my grade 3s. Next up, I play 4 of the sweet cocktails, 4 of Buster Mantis, and 2 of Machining Tarantulas. What Sweet Cocktail does is, if it hits the Vanguard, Counterblast 1, rest a unit, and that unit cannot be used to intercept. If the unit is still there at the end of your opponent's turn, you draw for the card. Buster Mantis is in there because he's the 3K. He's a 12K attacker. And Tarantula is in here mainly because he's one of the greatest grade 2 rides in this deck. Because you kind of like when he's placed on Vanguard or Rearguard, kind of blast 1 and you get to rest their unit, and it rest the unit. So it works well. It works great for this deck. Okay, what I play next? Next up are my grade 1s. My grade 1s are 4 of the Perfect Guards, 4 of the Scissors, 4 of the Stride Fodder, and 3 of the Machining Laters. I play the Perfect Guards mainly because it's the unflipper of the deck. Dimension flipper of the deck. The Scissors mainly because they are 9K boosters. So they work. So they pretty much help me power up my units. And 4 the Stride Thotters mainly because I stride 4 strides, and or if I don't have Dark Face in my hand, which happens quite a bit, but very little, but just in case I don't. And 3 of Slaters are in here mainly because to fuel Dark Face. That's all they're in there for, to fuel Dark Face. And because if your opponent has all their units at rest, when this unit boosts a Vanguard, Soul Charge 2 you have the soul charge too. So it works as a fuel source for Darkface's effect, which is why Darkface is so good. Although so good. For the grades, for my triggers and my grade and the grade zeros, I play 8 crits, 4 stands, 4 heals. The stands, what they do is pretty much at their opponent ride phase. If your opponent has 3 or more units at rest, put at the top of the deck, shuffle the deck, and draw 2. So I love playing this deck, this card, because it recycles itself, and it's a bit of a draw power. It gives me more draw power into the deck, to burn through the deck more. My starter, what he does at GB1 is put it into the soul, and it's costless. So just put it into the soul, choose your opponent's rear guard. It stays at rest to your opponent's next turn, end of the opponent's turn, and it cannot be used to intercept. So it combos well with Sweet Cocktail. So that's my grade zeros. Okay, my strides are 4 stun beetles, 2 paraspears, and one of the new Madus. Rain Madu. What? Madu is not out yet, officially out yet. He's part of the new Alfred. She comes in the new Alfred set, the new leader set that comes out hopefully next week. So yeah, what Stun Beetle does if he hits the Vanguard, Cannon Blast 2, Persona Flip, and your opponent in stun any of your opponent rear guard, including the Vanguard. But I mainly choose the Vanguard, mainly because if you hit your opponent, is not allowed to ride over over the Vanguard normally. So what my opponent can always do is superior ride, but not many decks do that unless you play a Think Saber deck. So yep. Paraspear, what he does, he's another draw in a way. Draw power for the deck. What he does is if your opponent has 3 or more units, draw a card and he gets +5. And then he forces opponent rearguard to rest, but it can stand his next turn. That's the only downside. But it does force your opponent's rearguard to rest. Now this card on the other hand, what she does is one of two things. When you stride for her, you could either give her a 10k boost, or you get back a grade 3. So she's a good game winning card. She's an awesome game winning card. Cause how much I ride for her. He's a 26 at the moment. I give her 10k. He's 36. He's a 36. Plus scissors. She's a 45 beat stick. So it really does help. Now, many people you guys might think, why am I only playing 4? Why am I playing 4 Stun Beetles when I should just play 2? The reason why I play 4, because I don't mainly use him for his effect. His effect is useful and all, but what I do for him is pretty much use him to waste my opponent's hand, because everyone's gonna want to block him because they don't want their opponent from stopping their Vanguard from standing. So this card is really clutch at times. So yeah, that's my grade 4s, my stride, my G zone. And yeah, hopefully I invested in my last Stun Beetle, hopefully in the future. Okay, guys, that was it for my Mega Colony Stride deck. Please leave a comment below and tell me what you think of it. Any advice you think of that might to help me with any deck advice that will be definitely useful. And see you guys soon.